Lenny Vangilder at Sunbelt Conference Media Day with the Commissioner of the Sunbelt, Karl Benson. Nice enough to take a minute to visit here in the midst of this day. I know most importantly, this is really the signal that football season is here once again, and we are on our way to another year of college athletics, particularly, of course, in your league.
Well, 38 days till August 30th when ULM is the first Sunbelt team out of the block, so to speak, and it is an exciting time. And you know, this event has grown to the point, Lenny, where it's meaningful, it is respected, and I'm just proud to be part of the Sunbelt Conference today.
2018, a big year for your league, in that you will be the last of the FBS conferences to have a football championship game. I know this is something that's been on your radar for many years. Take us through the evolution of that process and what we can expect come December 1st.
Well, we when we first kind of put the Sunbelt back together again after the membership departures, the NCAA rule was that you needed to have 12 teams. And we wanted to get to 12 so we could do a championship game, and thus the addition of Idaho and New Mexico State as football-only members, that we were going to get to 12 earlier. NCAA changes the rules. Now we only need 10. We elect to not extend our agreement with Idaho and New Mexico State, and we're back to the 10 number. Waited last year. We could have had the championship game last year, but we wanted to wait until Coastal Carolina was fully eligible. Should they be our champion, we wanted to make sure that our champion, was bowl eligible. So we waited a year. Now we get a chance December 1st to match up the division winners, and it's going to be on a campus site. And we're excited about that, in that we have so many great venues in the Sun Belt and so many great fan bases that we think that campus experience is really going to be a home run for us.
I know several of your peer leagues, of course, already doing this on campus sites as well. What have you been able to kind of glean from their experiences, having done this up until now, that's going to help you get ready for an event that will be much different, honestly, than your other championship events, in that you may not know what your venue is until the Saturday before, where it is you're heading, or your matchup for that matter?
Our staff went out last December and went to all four of the group of 5 championship sites, and again, those that are on campus, the Mid-American is the only one that isn't on campus. Mountain West and Conference USA and the American all have the same campus site, so they were able to to witness that. And now we are starting to actually do on-site visits to our campus sites. That history shows what teams in the past 5 years have been at the top, and we'll start doing our site evaluations with them, and then we'll kind of monitor the season and see how it goes. But what our goal is, what we will do is that regardless of where the site is, we will create our own ESPN game day experience. So what fans get up on Saturday morning and watch the Lee Corso and the Kirk Herb Street from a site that has just been set up the day before on campus X, Y, or Z, we'll be doing the same thing. We'll set up a site, and we'll have our talent, and we'll enlist the home team to provide the cheerleaders. My goal is to get somebody to wave the Washington State flag at our championship game day like they do on ESPN game day.
There you go. Last question, if you will, about football. You mentioned in your opening remarks here today about the new motto and continuing your goal to be the number one league out of that group of 5, and to get your champion into a New Year's Day bowl game. How do you feel that has progressed in your time here?
We're close. We were close a year ago. Had Troy not stumbled a little bit, they would have been right in the thick of it after they beat LSU. They lost their opening game at Boise State. They beat LSU, and then they stumble against South Alabama. Had they gone on and won out like they did, and they were 11 and 1 with their only loss at Boise State, they would have been right in the thick of it. Absolutely. So I think that there's another team in the mix this year that can have that same type of result. Our scheduling philosophy now in terms of playing the Power 5 teams is just to play one, and a loss to a Power 5 team is not going to eliminate a Sun Belt team from being in consideration for that highest rated.
Shifting gears to other sports, because obviously you are an all-sports league, although the focus today is on football. You guys made some news on the basketball front with, and you're not the only one doing this, with a little bit of a new scheduling philosophy for 2018-19, as well as some changes to your tournament format as well. What went into those changes? Just elaborate on exactly what you did there.
Well, the end result is that we needed to infuse something into men's basketball. The Sun Belt, has been a basketball conference historically, and the last 10 or 12 years, we haven't had the same type of basketball success. So we needed something to change. As the consultant that we worked with said, how's the status quo working right now? And it's not working real well in terms of getting a team into the NCAA tournament and winning, even though we've had a Georgia State and the Little Rock win first round games, but they've done it with a 13 or 14 seed. And this process, or this new structure, is meant to get us a better seed and to get into that 10, 11, 12 seed. And those that follow NCAA basketball know that 12 seeds win a lot of games. 13, 14 seeds don't win a lot of games. So how do we improve ourselves to one or two spots up the seed poll, and then if the year's right, how do we get that second team in the NCAA tournament? So that's what caused us to go down this path. As far as the outcome of playing kind of a split season, so to speak, to determine our seeds for our tournament, the goal there was to make sure that our best teams were playing our best teams, the last 2 weeks of the season. And to take advantage of that, to catapult a team into the eyes of the NCAA committee. So it has some risk. I think that it's worth the risk, and that then the last part of it, our tournament format, eventually not 2019 but 2020, we'll be back in New Orleans, but under a Final Four format at the Smoothie King Center. And we'll bring our 4 teams to play a Final Four for both the men and the women, and we think that will have some value here in New Orleans.
Last question for you. New TV contract this year with ESPN. You chose to renegotiate that a little bit further out front maybe than some people expected. You were one of the first to come under the ESPN Plus umbrella, that new over-the-top service. What is that going to mean for this league? Not just financially, but in terms of visibility.
Well, we think that it's ESPN's next generation of how to watch sports. And for you and I that saw ESPN in its infancy, and as they added ESPN2, there was question about whether ESPN2 could be an acceptable provider. It was. ESPNU wondered what that was. ESPN3, and now ESPN Plus. Everything ESPN has done in terms of delivery of sport content has been a success, and we expect that ESPN Plus will allow our fans to not just watch football, but to watch all Sun Belt sports, all team sports, the volleyball in the fall, the men's and women's basketball, and the soccer in the winter, and the baseball, softball in the spring, that those will be available to fans across the world.
It should be noted that the Sun Belt was the first ever league to sign a contract with ESPN almost 40 years ago, and still there today. Commissioner, thanks for your time. Good luck to the Sun Belt in the upcoming 2018-19 season.
Thank you. 1979, I think, was that first contract with ESPN. So the historian, Lenny Vangilder, right here.
Commissioner, thank you.